about that. Look at this. We talked about this last week. And Regina, when you see this,
so we really hoping Regina being here today because her and Tommy.
Yeah, I think it was Tommy. I was gonna make a whole little animation for y'all saying Hall of Fame comments because Lord, y'all might have called it.
It started out. I said that that was Nancy's
side dude, yeah.
Side dude. And they were like, no.
That's Paul's side dude.
That's Paul's side dude. And I was like, my mind was like, damn, normally
you be on that.
I would say that, but I was trying to be like, no, I'm gonna give Paul the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna go for Nancy this time.
So, and Regina made a comment that this is like Jeffrey Dahmer. And man, oh man, she might have hit that one on the head. All right, let me show this right quick. All right, we're gonna go through this pretty quickly. We're gonna skip this. Now, how this starts is, hold on. Okay. Remember back in June, the White House was talking about how the U.S. needs heightened extremist threat. The U.S. sees heightened extremist threat heading into the midterms.
So they were setting the groundwork.
Huh?
They were setting the groundwork for.
Yeah. So in June they were saying, "Hey man, around the midterms, don't be surprised if we don't see more extremist behavior." Now they didn't say what side was going to be doing it, but it just said, "Hey, the U.S. Department of Security was like, hey man, it's got the Department of Homeland Security. I'm sorry. They was like, be careful, the stuff might happen around midterms." Then you had the Paul Pelosi thing happen, became the biggest story in politics. Now he's home. Now keep in mind, when this happened, Nancy Pelosi, her initial report was she said he's recovering and he'll be fine. His son said he's being put back together. Nancy Pelosi didn't come home for a day after he was quote unquote attacked. She did not go straight home. She continued the campaign. What does that say?
She don't give a damn about Paul.
I remember Regina said that. She said Nancy's sick of Paul. Nancy is sick of Paul. But listen, so it says Paul Pelosi returns home from hospital days after hammer attack. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, has returned home after the home invasion suspect allegedly fractured his skull with a hammer.
6 days later.
6 days. So a week. So he got hit in the head with a hammer. Allegedly, they said he was just beaten bloody.
To a pope.
They said they had to do surgery. He was in surgery, brain surgery, remember? Oh, he's still unconscious. We don't know what's going to happen.
He was in brain surgery.
So look at this. Now, this is recent. NBC News pulls report claiming Paul Pelosi didn't indicate emergency to cops.
Truth be told, I believe brain surgery is the one that got him in the situation that he in. Anybody know what I'm hitting around to?
So, remember, the initial report was that the cops came to the home. Someone, that's what they said it, someone opened the door and they saw Paul Pelosi and David DePape holding the hammer together. They didn't say fighting over it, they said holding it. And they said he took the hammer and hit him over the head, and the cops charged him and took him down to the floor and arrested him. Now, in another article, remember we showed last week, that it said that they both went to the hospital. It said they both went to the hospital. But they're not mentioning him going to the hospital, though. They're only mentioning Paul Pelosi. So right here, NBC have released, they put up a report saying that Paul Pelosi didn't indicate emergency to cops. Remember, this was called a wellness check. The cops only showed up because of a wellness check, not for an alert, not for an emergency, not because they were called. It was a wellness check. They said that Paul Pelosi called and said there was a man in his home. He didn't know him, but he was a friend. And they didn't run and rush to get to him. They said it was a wellness check. They even said they didn't even know that it was Paul Pelosi and Nancy Pelosi's house when they got there. So I'm gonna play it right here.
How they part of the San Francisco to the police department? They don't know that they're the Speaker of the House. That's the Speaker of the House's house. They don't mean
they never been there. Those dudes. Let's see.
Craig, good morning. When officers arrived here at the Pelosi home exactly a week ago today, they initially didn't have any idea exactly what was going on. They knew they had a high priority call on their hand. What was unclear, what was happening inside the property just behind me.
This morning, Paul Pelosi is home, back at the house that became a crime scene a week ago today. NBC News learning new details about the moments police arrived. Sources familiar with what unfolded in the Pelosi residence now revealing when officers responded to the high priority call, they were seemingly unaware they'd been called to the home of the Speaker of the House. After a knock and announce, the front door was opened by Mr. Pelosi. The 82-year-old did not immediately declare an emergency or try to leave his home, but instead began walking several feet back into the foyer toward the assailant and away from police. It's unclear if the 82-year-old was already injured.
So when he opened the door for the police, now they're saying it was Paul Pelosi that opened the door. Now you will not find this report anywhere. NBC deleted this. You can't find it. I was able to get it from somewhere. So they said that he opened the door for the police, walked back towards the assailant, away from the cops. He didn't just run out the door.
They don't seem like somebody was being
held against their will.
Are told that they wanted to bash their wife's knees in.
Yeah, and tie her up and all this other stuff.
And tie her up. They don't sound like that. They don't sound like what he was said to him to me.
Or what his mental state was, say sources. According to court documents, when the officer asked what was going on, defendant smiled and said everything's good. But instantaneously, a struggle ensued as police clearly saw David DePape strike Paul Pelosi in the head.
So wait. The cops asked what's going on.
Everything good, man.
And DePape, how you say his name, said everything's good.
We good.
Then he took the hammer away from him and hit him. What the hell?
That's a lie.
Now remember, they also had a report that he was in his underwear. They took that story down, and now they're saying no, he was in shorts. Oh no, I'm sorry, he wasn't in shorts. I'm saying that's what they said. They said first they said he was in underwear, then they said he was in shorts. Then they said he had all black on with a backpack.
DePape?
Yeah. Oh no, he was in his drawers. He did come with black on and had shorts on. And when they found him, he was in his underwear. I believe it.
That's the real crime scene of what they were doing in that damn bedroom. Allegedly.
With the hammer. After tackling the suspect, officers rushed to Mr. Pelosi, who was lying in a pool of blood.
What we do know is he brutally attacked Mr. Pelosi and attempted to kill him.
After spending several days in the ICU, Pelosi, who is recovering from a fractured skull and serious injuries to his arm and hand, is now home, where Capitol Police remain on alert. Investigators have previously said Pelosi did not know DePape when the 42-year-old broke into his home. Why Pelosi...
By the way, y'all noticed that the windows being smashed. They looked like they were smashed from the inside. The glass, most of the glass is on the pavement, not on the inside. So if you bust a window from the outside, the glass wouldn't go on the pavement.
Broke into his home. Why Pelosi didn't try to flee or tell responding officers he was in distress is unclear.
Fear takes over. Fear freezes people.
This morning, the 82-year-old
They don't add up, sir, because he supposedly went and opened the fucking door.
Now they're saying...
So you walk back to the assailant.
Are they saying he had Stockholm Syndrome?
He did have Stockholm Syndrome. He wanted to get back to what he was doing.
He felt
He's like, y'all disturbing me, but police are known for doing this too. Y'all can join the party.
lucky to be alive after an intruder nearly killed him in his own home.
Law enforcement officials tell us the bottom line here is this was a terrifying situation. We still don't know exactly what unfolded between Mr. Pelosi and the suspect for the 30 minutes they were alone inside that house before police arrived.
So he was there for 30 minutes. So that means he got there. He got there at 1:50 something. Because the call that Pelosi made wasn't until 2:23.
How they know he was there for 30 minutes?
Exactly. Has Paul Pelosi told you this?
Why don't we have any pictures of Paul bruised up?
None.
Even
He was at
him,
the hospital.
even them getting out of the hospital, seeing you have bandages. Paul said, I ain't doing all that shit, doing all that acting, putting on that shit on me. Just put the story out and let it be.
Paul Pelosi tried to. Now, this is one of the initial stories that came out. This is October 31st.
Why the Kennedy honors got rainbow shit?
Huh?
Never mind.
Paul Pelosi tried to escape from attacker to an elevator equipped with a phone to call 911, San Francisco District Attorney says. I thought they said he did it in the bathroom.
Yeah, they say this was the Jeffrey Dahmer scene.
Yeah.
Of the black dude saying how he got away from him the
By
first
going to the
time
bathroom.
he asked Jeffrey if he could use the bathroom. So Paul asked DePape,
Can I use the bathroom?
can he use the bathroom?
Revealed, Paul Pelosi attacker was trying to murder 82-year-old and liken himself to the founding fathers in an interview with cops. Speaker's husband scrambled to bathroom to call 911 after being stopped from using phone in home's elevator. So what you're saying happened is he breaks into the home. He goes upstairs to the bedroom. Remember, he woke him up out of his sleep. Paul Pelosi gets up. What the hell are you doing in my house? Whatever, goes back and forth, runs towards the elevator. He stops him. And then he says, okay, hey, can I use the bathroom then? What? Okay, you won't let me in the elevator, but can I use the bathroom? He goes in the bathroom where he has his phone charging. Look. I ain't gonna say nobody ever charges their phone in the bathroom. Most people probably do that when they're about to take a shower or a bath, a long bath, and you put your phone on the charger, about to go down dead.
How many wait a minute. Sorry, y'all. How many times have we seen 2:30?
What do you mean?
Kanye West, his trainer, sent him those text messages at 2:30.
Yeah.
Takeoff died at 2:30.
They had a song called 2:30.
Pelosi's he's invaded Pelosi's home around 2:30 on Friday. How many times have we seen 2:30 and all these stories that's going on?
Ain't it a witching hour or was that 3? It's a witching hour, ain't it? A lot of shit going on. Officials in California have formally charged David DePape with attempting murder among other felony charges in relation to his Friday's hammer attack on Paul Pelosi, husband Speaker of House Nancy Pelosi. In a press conference on Monday, San Francisco District Attorney Brooke Jenkins explicitly referred to the attack as politically motivated. Jenkins also stated her belief that DePape intended to murder Paul Pelosi. Jenkins told the media what is clear based on the evidence that we have thus far is that this house and the speaker itself were specifically targeted of the defendant. DePape, go ahead.
I thought he came there for Nancy.
There you go. Where's the "Where's Nancy" thing?
I mean,
when did he say this? Where's Nancy?
He said, where's Nancy? I'm going to bust her caps in and kneecaps in and tie her up.
DePape, 42, is also facing charge of attempted kidnapping a U.S. official and one count of assault of an immediate family member of the U.S. official. The suspect will be arraigned on Tuesday. He is accused of breaking into Pelosi's home and beating Paul Pelosi over the head with a hammer and intending to hold the House Speaker's wife, Nancy, hostage to break her kneecap. Jenkins said in a press conference that Paul Pelosi was asleep in a loose-fitting pajama shirt and pair of boxer shorts when he awoken by DePape around 2:30.
Why the kneecaps? Did he choose the kneecaps because he does a lot of standing?
I don't know.
Because she's the Speaker of the House, or why the kneecaps?
I don't know. At some point during the ordeal, Paul Pelosi attempted to escape into an elevator to 911 call when the avenue was closed off to him. He did manage to get into the bathroom where he was able to call police. DePape was listening on the phone. Listen, DePape was listening in on the phone call and knew police were going to arrive, according to the FBI interrogators, but explained that he did not leave after Pelosi's call to 911 because, much like the American founding fathers with the British, he was fighting against tyranny without the option of surrender. They're trying to make him a right-winger now.
This is yeah.
They're trying to make him a right-winger. Even though everything about him says that he was a Canadian immigrant, by the way. And look at this. The awful truth. Paul Pelosi was struck on the head with a hammer by a lunatic early Friday morning. He changed the title, and it changed the entire article. Original title, October 29, 2022. Original title, The Awful Truth, Paul Pelosi was a drunk again and in a dispute with a male prostitute early Friday morning. They changed the title. Update. In the now removed report, NBC News says Pelosi initially told police everything was fine and walked back to rejoin DePape. NBC report says it was unclear what the two men were doing for 30 minutes before the San Francisco police arrived at the Pelosi residence. Now, he said he got rid of the original report because he was doing something because he was told to. He said, look, because the mainstream media, which has spent weeks vilifying me, has now started to admit that I was right. I have decided to add my original post to the bottom of the post. After all, unlike NBC News, I don't have to believe in censorship. And this is a small part of American history. Scroll down to see it. God bless America. So he updated it because he took it down because they told him to. Now he just put it back together. Now this is the original. Listen to this. This is the original report he put out about what he's hearing happen. As San Francisco gay bars closed at 2 a.m., two gay men met in the bar and went home together. Now there are rumors that Paul Pelosi is gay. Happens every night in the city by the Bay, except one of these two men was married to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. I might disappear for telling you the truth, but if I do, you all know why. But here's what really happened early Friday morning in San Francisco, in my honest opinion. According to the San Francisco PD, RP reporting person, they didn't give their name, stated there's a male in the home and that he's going to wait for his wife. RP stated that he doesn't know who the male is, but he advised that his name is David and that he's a friend. The dispatch official said RP sounded somewhat confused. So they're saying that he sounded confused because he said he don't know who he is, his name is David, and he's a friend. Okay. It's been a rumor for years that San Francisco that Paul Pelosi is gay. David DePape is said to be Castro nudist. The lunatic who allegedly assaulted Paul Pelosi is a Berkeley resident and a former Castro nudist protester and hemp jewelry maker. Sounds totally MAGA Republican to me. This is from Twitter. Okay, so here's the theory, as related to me by a source. Castro nudists are a group who really radical gay male prostitutes that parade around naked. Remember when they kept pointing out that he had a ex-lover, a female ex-lover who was a pedophile because she was messing around with a 14-year-old boy? I said, why they bring this? Why they bring
that up?
Why they bring this woman up?
He said, throw you off your scent.
They walk around naked with penis rings. First of all, the police did not come in response to an alarm. They came in response to a wellness check. So someone called them to check on Pelosi, who made the call. When he didn't answer the phone, the cops broke the sliding door window to get in. Pelosi was struggling with the suspect who was in his underwear. That was the initial report that he was in his underwear. They took that down. Pelosi owned the hammer, not DePape, or the male prostitute was doing something Pelosi didn't like. And then there was a press conference where they didn't know the mic was on. Now this actually happened. During that, a reporter confirmed that the suspect was gay Castro nudist, but they told him he couldn't use it. Now tell me something. The people are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Nancy is the third in line to the presidency. You don't think they have a most amazing security? And by the way, when Pelosi was in the drunk driving accident, he had a young man with him.
Yeah, okay.
And that too was covered up by the police and the press. Remember, people kept saying there was another person
in the car
with Paul Pelosi who left the scene. Remember, the sheriff showed up to the scene and left.
Nancy trying to set Paul up.
You think Nancy doing it? I don't know.
Who called for the wellness check?
Nobody won't say. They said they're saying that Paul called.
So Paul called for the wellness check.
He called for his own wellness check.
His wife
is not there. He gets attacked.
You supposed to get attacked and she still continue one-day campaigning?
Yeah.
That sounds like she's trying to.
I don't know. He said Nancy is. Oh, I read it already. Now they said it was a man with him when he got in the DUI as well. But yeah, how could a suspect DePape have been able to break a window without triggering an alarm? He didn't. The police broke the window to gain entry. There was only one hammer, and it belonged to Pelosi. And only one cop said he said, "Where's Nancy?" None of the others said that he said that. Probably the police broke the window in order to get in to conduct the wellness check. And one of them could easily have broken the window. Remember, this was no alarm triggered. How would suspect DePape have gotten into the house without doing that? The cops smashed the glass to gain entry. Who called 911 to initiate wellness check? Either Nancy or her staff. Who hadn't heard from Paul all evening and suddenly at 2 a.m. or a neighbor hearing a fight at the Pelosi residence? Admittedly, David DePape is a known nutcase. He's an election denier, says mainstream media, who has posted conspiracy theories online. That may be true, but he also lives in Berkeley, where he is a 42-year-old career student. My law firm served a lawsuit against Paul Pelosi one time in San Francisco after attempting to serve at another residence in Napa, Georgetown. They weren't home, but staff were, and multiple law enforcement officers were on the perimeter. Break-in is odd given this level of security, said Hamid Dillon, Republican National Committee
He's also
chairman.
from Berkeley. Remember, you think of Berkeley, you think of communists.
Yeah. Now, this right here is Craig Cruel Gallery. The landlord for David DePape, Malcolm Loveliner. He is the landlord for David DePape. I'm sorry. Now it says right here. Now also, I didn't get it. I forgot this picture. There was a picture. I thought I had it. Let me check. I got a picture of David DePape and the landlord allegedly taking his clothes out of the house. There you go. Look at it. Now, this is the landlord for David DePape. He lived in a garage at a man's house. This right here, it says he's taking a picture. He's taking his clothes out of his house. But the FBI is investigating this.
Nothing should be touched.
Nothing should be touched.
His house is a crime scene.
Now,
pretty much.
Now, Malcolm Loveliner, he takes pictures, and he takes the pictures, and they don't have them on his website, but he takes pictures of homosexual events.
Well, he has all the pictures on his website as men, so
he's accused. So we know that David's considered to be gay. And now we see this whole story alleged that this dude got out about him possibly getting into some little bit of a relationship, not a relationship, what they call it, lover's quarrel with Paul. I don't know.
A lover's quarrel.
All right. U.S. Capitol Police armed officers weren't watching live home security cameras when Paul Pelosi was attacked. Officers in the U.S. Capitol Police have live video surveillance outside of Pelosi's San Francisco residence, but weren't watching it when David DePape, 42, allegedly attacked Paul Pelosi, the husband of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. The officers were monitoring a live feed of many cameras, which includes surveillance of the Capitol complex, but also monitored some points away from the Capitol, which include the Pelosi residence. According to sources, the officers were always monitoring the feed and saw police lights on the dark street outside of Pelosi's residence. When going through surveillance footage, the officers saw the alleged attack on October 28 when DePape allegedly struck Paul Pelosi. People briefed on the incident said, hold on. Now it says that they only have cameras outside, none inside. But right here it says when going through the surveillance footage, the officers saw the attack on October 28. So how do you see it if it was inside the building?
That clearly mean they lying.
That means you have footage of the quote unquote what happened inside. This line. And this is the last thing I'm going to show.
I don't care who tell it.
I'm not going to read all this. I just want to read one little piece. It says, on October 28, 2022, at 2:23 a.m., San Francisco dispatch received a 911 call from Paul Pelosi. This is the official affidavit because he's not just going against the state of California. He has to go against the United States because it's obviously public official's family member. It says, located at a Pelosi residence in San Francisco, California, Pelosi stated words to the effect that there's a male in the home and that the male is going to wait for Pelosi's wife. Pelosi further conveyed that he does not know who the male is. The male said his name is David. So it was the man who said his name is David. So while he's on the phone and says, I don't know who this guy is, the guy says, I'm David. So you heard him through the door.
Well, this make more sense that he's not staying there to break Nancy's kneecaps. He's staying there to quote unquote expose Paul.
I don't know. At 2:31 a.m., San Francisco Police Department Officer Kobe Williams responded to the Pelosi residence, California, and knocked on the front door. When the door was open, Pelosi and DePape were both holding a hammer with one hand, and DePape had his other hand on Pelosi's forearm. Pelosi greeted the officers. Wait. Remember, they're saying Pelosi opened the door as well.
He opened the door.
So they're standing next to the door in the bedroom. They knock on the door. They already broke the window. They already broke the glass to get in.
Okay, no.
I'm sorry. DePape broke the glass, got in. They're upstairs. 30 minutes later, they're fighting over a hammer, apparently, after he went in the bathroom and didn't stay in there.
But the police knocked on the door, and Paul opened the door and went back to...
Well, not the same. See, that's the thing. Was he standing next to the door, or did he let go of the hammer, open the door, go back to the dude, and put his hand back on the hammer? What the hell? If they were standing next to the door, okay, you just open the door while you're holding it.
What were they doing with those hammers?
Then he said, Pelosi greeted the officers.
Yeah.
So while this guy's in my house threatening to kill my wife, hello, officers. How you doing, officers? That sounds pretty calm. You greeted.
Great to see here.
Okay. The officers asked them what was going on. DePape responded that everything was good. Officers then asked Pelosi and DePape to drop the hammer. Then he hit it with a hammer. That don't make sense. Now, another thing they did was DePape pulled the hammer away from Pelosi's hand and swung the hammer, striking Pelosi in the head. Officers immediately went inside and were... Now, they weren't inside the room yet. They were still standing at the door. They immediately went inside where they were able to restrain DePape. While officers restraining DePape, Pelosi appeared to be unconscious on the ground. Officers removed a cell phone, cash collector's cards, and unidentified card from DePape's right shorts pocket. So he had shorts on. Not all black pants on.
Or drawers. Living in his underwear.
And that's the end of that. Like,
there's
that case
three
makes
different stories.
There's so much going on in that story, it makes no sense.
Yeah, I'm done with it.